So my videographer caught me saying something wrong. I think I said this was a super mesh. So no, of course not. This is a super node. It's a voltage source with the two nodes on either side. By the way, if you do notice a mistake in these videos, please post it. And I'll verify that I had misspoken or something, and then other people will know that too and won't get confused. But I hope I haven't made too many mistakes. So there's one super node, and then we've got another one here because here's another voltage source. It's a dependent voltage source, but so what? It's a voltage source, and so a super node is a voltage source with the nodes on either side. So there's that super node. Okay. And it's not just enough to identify the supernodes. Yeah, I was on step. You also have to write the voltage of the source in terms of the node voltages on either side, which is similar to what we did for super meshes. Remember, we wrote the current of the source in terms of the mesh currents on either side. So in this case, we've got 2 volts is equal to V1 minus 0. Okay, so, I almost labeled this node as 2 volts. But then I decided just to let it fall out in the equations. But, after a while, if you've got, from the reference node, you've got a voltage source, then the node on the other side of the voltage source is definitely going to be whatever the voltage of the source is. But there we just proved it, I guess. So V1 is equal to 2 volts. Now we got to do it for this one. We've got to write the voltage of the source, and again, don't be confused, this is a voltage, it's not a current, is equal to V3 minus V4. So I wrote the equations that I needed to write once I identified the supernodes. You just take the voltage inside the node and you write its voltage and the voltage source inside the node. You write the voltage in terms of the node voltages on either side. So I did that for both of my supernodes. And like I said before, this step here is the first of your n equations in n unknowns. So this equation here is the first of the 4 equations I need, because I know I've got 4 unknowns, so I need 4 equations. This is the second one, but I'm a little uncomfortable with it because I've got an unknown in it that's not a node voltage. But look, that's what step 3 was about. I know that Ix is V3 minus V3 over 2. So I actually might want to rewrite this. 3 times minus V3 over 2. So it's really minus 3 halves V3 equals V3 minus V4. So that's actually what I want to label as equation 2, because this is the one that only has node voltages in it. So from here, I just substituted in what I know Ix to be. All right. Now I'm on step 5, that last step where we do Kirchhoff's current law. Okay, so for node voltage analysis, you need Kirchhoff's current law. For mesh current analysis, we did Kirchhoff's voltage law. And in this case, we want Kirchhoff's current law for all the non-reference nodes. So we're not going to do Kirchhoff's current law at the reference. This reference is part of this supernode, so we're not going to do it there either. We only need to do it, let's see, here and at this supernode. So we only need 2 more equations. So we're going to do Kirchhoff's current law at node 2, and we're also going to do Kirchhoff's current law at supernode 3, 4. Okay, for the purposes of step 5, where you identify the supernode and then you have to write the voltage of the node in terms of the node voltages on either side, you got to think of the supernode as being transparent. Like you do have to look inside and see what that voltage is. But for step 5, when you do Kirchhoff's current law, this node becomes like a big black dot, and you're not looking inside of it. It's just a big black dot. And the importance there is that that node, look, if you think of that as a big black dot, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 branches coming into it. So when you do Kirchhoff's current, let's do that now since I'm talking about it. So when you do Kirchhoff's current law at that supernode, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So let's do it. So Kirchhoff's current law for this big black, or this big node right here. So we've got the current leaving this branch here will be V3 minus V1 over 1 ohm. Plus, okay, so the current leaving this one here will be V3 minus 0 over 2. Okay, the current leaving here, well, okay, you can see the current. Okay, remember, this is a voltage-controlled current source, but it's a current. So we've got a current going into the supernode. So that means the current leaving it is the negative of that. So it's minus 2y, Vy. And then the last branch here, the current leaving this is V4 minus V2 over 1. And I'm a little unhappy with this equation because I have something other than a node voltage in it. So I'm going to have to change this to V1 minus V2. You should probably rewrite it here, but I'm just going to erase this and do V1 minus V2. And now I'm happy. I'm happy because I have my third equation, and because it only has node voltages in it. So this is my third of the n equations in n unknowns. And then this one, well, let me call it 4, because my third one is going to be this one here. So, and the last one, the Kirchhoff's current law at node 2, this node right there. Okay, I've only got 3 branches, so I've got 9 amps plus V2 minus V4 over 1 plus V2 minus V1 over 2. And I'm looking at it, I feel happy because it's only node voltages. And so I've got 4 equations in 4 unknowns. I can solve, again, you can do the math. This isn't a math course, it's a circuits course. You know, it's important to be able to do the math, but on the test, 1, 2, 3, 4 equations in 4 unknowns. You can solve for those unknowns. Let's see if they relate to what we were actually asked to find. Okay, so we're going to get the node voltages. How do they relate to Ix and Vy? Well, right here. So I'm done.